house, and it's only 2 rooms, like a downstairs meeting space for our support groups and upstairs for yoga and meditation and such. And so someone calls randomly from a co-parent, and I was having art therapy in my house on Monday, and she was just calling to tell me that she was coming. And for some reason, I start rambling about the house, and I mean, I hardly know her. And I started telling her that I'm picking colors for this house. So she said, oh, I have a friend, and she's a colorist. You know, she's a designer. That's what she does. She picks colors. So I said, well, do you think you could call her and just ask her if it would be all right for me to speak to her? So anyway, the long story short, is that she connected us. And I'm talking to this woman, and she's telling me that she did this to support her kids after her husband passed. And no, first she said that, you know, so I said, oh, I'm also an artist, you know, when she was telling me that she was doing murals and such. And then she told me her husband passed. She lives in 6 Hills, which is the same place that I was living. Her husband passed in January of 2000. It was like back and forth. Are you kidding? My husband passed in 2000.
Wow.
And it was the same thing, like 10 days apart.
Wow.
And she started this group of young widows because she was a young widow at the time. And just the day before we saw, I mean, this is kind of a convoluted story. The day before we went into the city to see an HBO screening for this Camp Erin, which we partner with and have a bereavement camp upstate in August. And all these camps, which are all over the country, we're the New York affiliate, they're all full, and we have like 6 kids, and I was like, oh my God, you know, like we need kids. And so she's telling me about her young widow bereavement group, and I said, well, would any of them have young children, you know, that maybe would be good for the camp? So she said, all of them, they're in their 30s.
Whoa, wow.
So she said last month they had like 25.
Oh, wow.
Parents.
Wow.
So it was really like the universe
listening
and, you know, like bringing
Sometimes I know that we actually have to get out there and like be in public, but you hear stories like this, you feel like you could just stay at home all day and it's all just going to happen. You just show up for it, right? That's not exactly how it works. Not after your rant. Not after my rant today. That's really good. But I know you've experienced things like this a lot.
Yeah.
What I always find so fascinating is that how is it that as soon as we have the clarity to understand the magnificence of our interconnectedness, as soon as we start to have the knowledge, how is it that that's the impetus that makes it so much more visible to us? You know, when we suspend doubt and when we start to allow and we let go of some of that need to control everything, and then all of a sudden these things pop and pop and pop and pop. And then you begin to recognize that that is life. It's not just something that happened for you once. That really is this incredible energy. You know, the partnership that we have with the universe is incredible. And the more you're aware of it and the more you let go of needing to believe that you are the king of all, or that whatever good or bad happens to you is always solid and alone, the more you see that there is this partnership, the more the partnership makes itself visible and apparent. And the more you can see yourself being led and guided and put in places. I love stories that start out with, I don't know why I said this, but I started ranting and on, going on and on about the house, and it didn't make any sense why I would do it. It happens to me all the time. All the time. At least I know why it happens, and I've learned to stop stopping it, at least in a seminar. Maybe in person I stop it a little bit more, but in a seminar I let it go. Like when I was talking with you, Irene, I would not have made up real estate as the metaphor for what we were talking about. As a matter of fact, I sometimes feel like there's this parallel conversation going on in my head at the same time. One is the track that the guides are asking me to say, and that's the stuff coming out of my mouth. Meanwhile, Karen's like, well, why would I say that? Or I don't understand. What's the connection? I don't really get it. So Karen's in there trying to sort and figure, and as long as we keep Karen out of the whole thing, the stuff that comes through can be quite grand. But it is just a very weird thing that I can hear myself narrating. I would never use that word, or that doesn't make sense. I don't know why I would say that, and that's sort of what it's like. And one thing that's very cool about it is it doesn't matter what state of awakeness you have. You're being used to do this, even if you are sound asleep. So we can come across some people that are behaving really, really in crummy ways, and they can still be intersecting with us to have us have a great and wonderful moment of awakening. So that's the neat thing. That let's say there's, 300 million people in America? I don't know what it is today. But say 300 million people in America. Let's say, let's try to be generous, let's say 10 million are awake, right? That was, all right, let's say 100 million are awake, and you're going through life. So that's 1 out of 3 that you can bump into that's going to knowingly be able to assist you in your journey, even if they don't know that they're helping you, at least they're aware that they could be. So the other 2 are completely not aware that they could be helping you, but they might be doing the exact things that they're actually being guided from your guides and their guides to intersect with you, that cause you to behave in a different way, or to think of something, or to change your perspective, or to look at it from a different angle. So I find that fascinating, that if you're asleep, you're going to be used anyway. So you might as well get used and be awake while doing it, right? It's just a neat thing. And it also makes you feel like you don't need to feel disappointed in other people when they're not behaving in an awake state, when they're not conscious and when they're not aware. It's like, all right, well, you're going to bump into someone today, and it'll be a life-moving moment for that person. You don't know it, but that other person is going to get it. So even if you're just the thing bumping around, causing people to go into different directions, that's okay. At least you're still doing that part. And it is fascinating to see that even some of the people that they're not high on our list of the ones that we want to spend time with, sometimes they are the catalyst for us to get a different idea, or to take a different direction, or to remember something about ourselves. So we can thank and appreciate those people and feel good for them, and then just wish them well that one day they start to have that bit of awakening, because you know that it's going to make them feel happier in their lives as well, which is very cool. Very cool. The topics tonight that we're talking about, everybody saw what's coming up, right? I usually speak about it. I'm sorry.
Can you go back?
You can watch the replay tomorrow from the live stream, okay? I think it'll be focused on that for about 20 minutes. Just watch the first 20 minutes over and over and over again.
Well, go to your website.
So many smart people. Or you could go to my website, and right up there on the top is a link that says events. You can click on the link, and it'll show you where I will be. Do you think I come here just to get together with friends? I think I just come here to get together with friends. There are some people that have been in private groups that I have, private enlightenment groups, and in private enlightenment power groups, we get to do some very, very fun things, because I don't need to have any concern about, who's up to that level, that they can comprehend things that some people might have pushback on because it's not going to match their present belief system. That something that they're believing today is serving them, even if it's a misbelief and it might be holding them down. For some reason, holding on to it today is helpful to them, and they're not ready to let it go. So it's not my role to try to convert people into letting go of their misbeliefs. It's to show them possibility and ask them to just question what it is that they think. But there are certain things that are revealed in the private groups that help me to really comprehend our journey here in a bigger way, because over time you get to witness some truths that keep emerging. But in being relevant to what we're talking about the magnificent interconnectednesses, there's a model that I want to show you about how life works so you can understand it a little bit more. Okay. Do you guys know back in when we were taking science, there were those little platelets that you would use in the microscope, right? And you put things on the microscope. So imagine this life right now is a platelet. And everything that happens on this life, let's look at the platelet from the top. Everything that happens on this platelet of your life looks something like this. Here's a moment, right? Here's another moment. Here's another. There's another. And you're meandering from moment to moment to moment. And whatever the platelet looks like, this is what your journey appears to be. As soon as you start to recognize this powerful, orchestrated interconnectedness with other people, and you see how people are put into your path, you see how coincidences show you a beauty that's underlying all that it is that we do. Every time you get to see these things, or you get a sign from the universe, or you get a stepping stone put down in front of you that guides you to the next stepping stone, which you could not have reached without the first one there, you start to see that in your platelet of reality, there are other people, and those people are doing their journey, and they're walking around, and they're moving. And then you're allowed to intersect because it has value to both of you. And then this one intersects, and this one, and then things happen like three of you will intersect in the same moment. And you'll be like, oh, your husband passed away in January of 2000, and so did mine. And then all of a sudden, all three of you are having this. And after a while, this is so filled with lines and crosses and intersections. The complexity of it is that you can't even wrap your head around it, especially when you start to think that somebody that you met when you were 7, you just found out that you re-met them, and somehow you talked about being in the Long Island Arena at the Good Rats concert in the year 1970. Maybe the Good Rats are coming back together. It's a sign. And then you're like, wow, I can't believe you were at the concert. That's just so amazing. I know they only played one night. And so you get to see that there's nothing here that has any randomness to it at all. If you're getting out there and you're living your life, all of this is happening all the time. And you get to hear some magnificent stories out there about people that met but didn't really pay attention to the fact they met, but then they met again, and then they met again. And you get to see how powerful it is that these events have meaning for all of us. But then, now imagine, let's say this is kind of a little thick piece of glass here. So let's look at it from this dimension now, and all the activity is on the top here, and you know it. What also happens is that in your past life, and the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that, all of this stuff has happened in that lifetime, and all of this stuff has happened in that lifetime. And all of the stuff has happened here and here. And so if you're imagining these to be all made of glass so that you can see through them, if you're up here now and you're looking into your eternal life, and you look all the way down through all the platelets of glass, you can see that everything has a hand of divinity in it, of creation in it, of magnificence, of a flow that makes sense, of a purposeful, meaningful way that things are unfolding. And so because I get to go into people's past lives, and because when I have a group that's been in a private group for a long time and we get to all know each other very, very intimately, we can start to see, I'll find them all in each other's past lives. And the information that comes through is so believable as to be resonating with the people in the group. I one time had one group experience where we found every single person in that room in a past life. Everybody had a different role in that past life. So when you start to really think about your soul's journey and the little bit of just this life and how it fits in, again, the grandness of it helps you to step back and feel less annoyed with people, makes you feel less frustrated by not necessarily having things go as smoothly as you might want them, because you know that as soon as you let go of your need to feel like an isolated character, as soon as you allow this all to be a part of your knowing journey, that it all becomes clear and it all becomes visible. And if for some reason you're in a moment of your life where you take a step back from that and you think and feel and live like a human being, the universe is going to try extra hard to get some of those magnificent splashes in front of you again. Because it's very hard to remain in that buffered state of feeling like you are separate when the world is popping all this really cool stuff of April 5th and Montana and the finance department. I mean, no matter what was going on before that, how could you be like, that cannot be a big deal. Look what just happened. It shifts you. It moves your focus to something that's more real than whatever you were focusing on that wasn't bringing you happiness. Does everybody get this?
Yep.
It's really cool. It's very cool. And little by little, as the evolution continues and you guys continue to take off your masks and layers individually, you'll start to have recall of your own past lives. And you will start to come across characters in this lifetime that were in your previous lives. And you'll see the similarities, and you'll see the differences, and you'll see familiar essences in their personalities that might have existed. And you might see ways that they provoked you then, and ways that they're bending over backwards to help you this time, sometimes without reason. And it all comes together. It all makes a little bit of sense, because we're in an ever-flowing circumstance, not just the flowing circumstance of this earth life. It'll flow when we're gone. It flowed before we got here. And when we personally return home, we're going to remember it all. What? All right. Anyone else? Anyone have any thoughts or comments? I want to share a story, because I recognize that not everybody is able to visit the energy realm the way that I do. Is that right? Anyone visits the energy realm on a regular basis the way that I do? Well, Linda, of course we know that you do, because I see you hanging out there all the time. And we have another one that visits the energy realm all the time. And so I realized that since I do have that capability of having amazing experiences when I'm really separated from my body and I'm fully reconnected with my soul, if I share stories with you that have been enlightening to me, then you can share in the enlightenment. I don't have to be the one that carries that knowledge around by myself, because there's such a benefit in you knowing the things that it is that I explore and discover when I'm in the energy realm. I don't have any sense of time during my visits, so I still can't equate whether an experience is 5 minutes long or if it's 5 seconds or if it's an hour. Like, I can't relate to time at all. But the only thing that I can tell you is that when I come back and I am fully conscious of being Karen again, I feel like I just had 5 decades of an earth life's wisdom packed into that one passage. So it's a very incredible experience because it peels away so much mistruth from me. And when I listen to clients and I listen to your stories and I listen to things that frustrate you or make you feel like you are limited, I always have this top-down perspective of your journey and our journey where I don't feel the same level of you needing to be bothered that you feel. It's a little bit of a weird feeling, but sometimes the most easy thing for me to say would be, really, that's not so. You really don't need to be sad, and you don't need to be angry, and you don't need to be afraid, because I'm going to tell you that nothing is true. It's not the way you're perceiving it. And I would love to be able to do that. I would love to be able to help you hop off with me and glance down and say, you know what? Why did I get so hung up on that one little thing? Because it's not true. My perception of it is not true. There is something wonderful enfolded into what I'm letting get me caught up in such a feeling of powerlessness. But there's really something wonderful going on here. I just am pretending to be 100% human, so it looks and feels so real to me, and it feels so absolute. It feels so unmovable. But if you pop off with me a little bit, you get to see that none of that is true. Everything is moving. Everything is flowing. Everything is changing all the time. So I realize there's many stories of my trips to the energy realm that I have never shared, except maybe with a couple of people that I'm closest to. And look at your bottle, echoes my stockings. Isn't that cool? And so does her blouse. Yeah, this is how I see the world.
You see the world as an accessory.
Well, as an accessory.
I've got a circle here, a little one.
And a little one.
And my eye.
As someone is speaking through me, I'm sitting here thinking, if I could have found these stockings in that color, I would have bought them. This is what I'm thinking. I'm fully with you. If anyone ever sees those stockings, these stockings in that color, pick them up for me. Buy tall. All right, buy tall. And we'll all be happy. And I'll wear them here. Okay? What were we talking about? All right, so, yes.
You know, what you were talking about, the thing that popped into my mind was dreams. I mean, no matter how crazy the dreams that we have are, sometimes they're more crazier than other times, we totally buy into it as if it's real until we wake up.
Yes. And
then
that's
you wonder, how
really good.
How could I have thought that
It's
whatever
a good
was
analogy.
happening was...
I know we've talked so much about using dreams to help interpret your reality and to get messages and to understand having better access to decision making. But I never really did see it as that same mystery thing about how it's so believable when we're in the dream. This really is a dream. This is an illusion. We just bought into it so fully, and we haven't completely woken up yet. We get moments of lucidity, but we haven't woken up in a sustainable way. And dreams are very interesting, aren't they, Dominic?
Very.
If I were to give out prizes for the most soulful dream of the week, it would have to be Dominic's. Let me just give him that open recognition of you have been given permission to be your full self, Dominic. Okay? All right, so I'm going to share a story with you of one thing that happened. And I'm going to preface it with you. I want you to remember that in my early trips to the energy realm, Karen went to the energy realm. So I had to concentrate on letting Karen go. Because Karen, when she arrives in the energy realm, she has a lot of baggage with her, and she has a lot of misbeliefs, and she has a lot of limits. So when she arrives in the energy realm, she's constantly filtering the things that are happening through a I am less than perspective, the lens of reality that we learn on Earth. And when you're in the energy realm, you're not less than anything. You are more magnificent than you can possibly even wrap your head around. And that's you as a soul. And let me tell you, those first few trips, they trip you up because you find it very, very, very hard to believe that you are as magnificent as your souls are pretending you are. And it feels like they are pretending. Those guides, it feels as though they are just trying to make you feel really darn good about yourself. You are special, Karen. You can do anything. You know, everything's going to be okay. There's always a storm before a rainbow. And that's how it feels to you. You feel a little bit like you're being managed. You feel a little, it feels patronizing, okay? But yet, there's such an awareness or knowingness that there's a part of you that knows that this is the truth. You can't accept it. You can't let it in. You can let a little tiny drip in, but you can't let it all in at once because it took you so long to create the illusion of I am not enough. So over time, my trips, I have experiences. I mean, we do things. We go places. We see things. My guides show me things. We have all of this great stuff that happens. And so little by little, they're chipping off from me the idea that I am less than. And when they're being their full souls, and I experience being enveloped in that pure, unconditional love, that ecstatic, blissful feeling, I'm equating that beauty to who they are. I'm not equating that beauty to who I am. I'm not equating that sensation to what every soul is and what the whole universe is. I'm associating that feeling with being in their presence. I get to experience the power of what loving energies they are. So slowly but surely, I start to realize by the things that they do and the design of my trips there, that they show me things, I start to realize, you know, they've been hanging out with me a little bit, lot lately, a little bit lot. I think they might like me. So maybe that means that I'm likable. You know, all of a sudden you're like, well, why are they hanging out with me so much? These guys, I have them on such a pedestal. Why are they spending so much time with me? So little by little, that stuff starts to fade away, and you can start to have a real conversation. And my sense of self, of my earth self, my sense of Karen starts to dissolve over time. And I'm no longer conscious of Karen, and I'm no longer conscious of Karen's idea of being a limited being. I become engaged in the activities with them, and I let go of Karen. So I become my full conscious energy again. There's nothing that can separate me from knowing that I am a brilliant, happy, warm, high vibrational energy, radiant soul, just like every other soul. And we're crammed into these human bodies, so we might not be in touch with that radiance, but that radiance is the true essence of every single one of us. So I'm going to tell you like a story. So what happens when I go to the energy realm? So I have these, particular guides I spend more time with than others. And I like to, because when you're learning a whole new language, like how to go to the energy realm, it's a whole new culture, whole new language. Everything about it is so new. The familiarity of a few different guides makes the experience a little bit easier for me to manage. So rather than hanging out with 100 different souls every few days, I select to hang out with ones that I have come to know as intimately and vividly as I have come to know people on Earth. Because that familiarity makes me stop being in observation mode. I can just be with them. So I lose my sense of self in it too, because I'm not conscious of who I am in the conversation. I'm not needing to be anyone. I'm engaged in the activity. So one particular soul that I really like to hang out with, let's call him Seth. That's the name that he goes by for me. And there's a setting, and I know we project the settings that I appear in. It's all, we're projecting through our conscious thoughts in the energy realm, the same way that we project here on Earth. And Seth's house is a very cool house. It's It's an old kind of barn-like, and it's in the shape of an octagon. And the table is rough-hewn wood, and it's just airy, and it's very tall, too. It's a very tall room. And the most significant part of his house when I visit is this table. We sit at this table and we talk endlessly, and he's a little like me. He makes diagrams. His diagrams are easy to follow, but he makes diagrams and he shows me things. And the other part of his house that I am in love with is that in one section of the octagon, 4 corners, a half of the house, it's a library. And the library goes all the way up to the ceiling, these stacks of books, and there are library ladders. And so whenever we're talking about something and he thinks that I can't comprehend what it is that we're talking about, he goes and he takes a book, just the right book, and he takes it off the shelf and he brings it to me. And it's so amazing that when I'm in the energy realm, I can see the book cover, I can read the title. He'll open the book and he'll show me a passage in the book. And in the energy realm, I'm reading the entire passage. If you gave me that passage on earth, I might not even be able to comprehend the meaning of the passage. That's how intense these experiences are. So, Seth, we all only care about love. On or off earth, that's the only thing that we care about is love. That's the only thing that matters. So we're all exploring the vibration of love from one angle or another. And what Seth tells me is that he explores the vibration of love through almost like a scientific perspective, if you will. We can't necessarily equate our idea of science exactly parallel in the energy realm, but he looks at things scientifically. He examines the energy of love, and he likes to see in an experimental way what the energy of love does. If you do this, if you do that, if you do this, what's the effect of the change in energy? And we're always trying to find more. We know that love is the most powerful energy in all of the universe. So as individual souls, we're always eager to find something that we do not yet know. We don't accept that which we know is all that exists. And that's one of the most fun things about being in the energy realm. It's almost the opposite of Earth reality. On Earth, we usually have the perspective that all that it is that we know, or all that we know that someone else says they know, is all that there is. But that's never true. It's never true. And you need these people on Earth who say, I don't agree with you. I'm going to push it. 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 And eventually they'll have to stop listening to people because they have to quiet out the naysayers that say, this is what it is finite, it is static, and that is the answer. Learn to live with it and accept it, which is what we pretty much do on Earth. In the energy realm, we never think like that. We never think we've gotten to the edge. We never think we're finished. We never think it's done. We never think it can't get any more beautiful. So we're always seeking and experimenting and calculating and planning and making these experiments and using our imagination to have something be even more and more, to expand and to expand and to expand. So what Seth tells me is that in the energy realm, I like to play with the vibration of love through the angle of love. Sounds weird, right? But I spent enough time in the energy realm now to know that I just go right to love and I play with love right in that energy form. And I don't know why I do it. I'm like in love with love in the energy realm. I'm totally blown away by love, and I just can't get enough of thinking about it and playing with it in the energy realm. So when Seth and I get together and we have these, meetings of the mind and these conversations and these what ifs, he comes at it with science, and I come at it with love, and I come out at it with there is no limit, or no, that can't be so. There's probably more. And one time I'm actually in the energy realm and I'm visiting a memory of a conversation that he and I had before I was born. And he wasn't saying I am declaring that I came to the end of something, but he was saying, I don't know how to get myself past where I have come. See the difference? So he knows he's come far, but he doesn't know how to get to the next place. So he's not yet able to imagine a new possibility. So when I explained, it was funny, in the energy realm and having this memory, when I explained to him, I said, that's really no different than when humans thought that they had found the tiniest molecule on Earth, and as soon as everybody said, we did it, everyone take a break, this is it, science is over, shut the books, we are done, then some smart ass came in and split the atom in two and said, I don't think so. It appears to be quite a bit of energy in that smallest little thing that you found here. And I'm sitting there in the energy realm having the memory of having this conversation, and it occurred to me, why do I think I'm so limited on Earth? If I am that in the energy realm, and every soul that I come across in the energy realm, whether it's you or you or you or you are all of that. Why did we decide that we are so much less than that here when we're not? If you can hear this conversation and you can accept it and it's resonating and you know it to be true, then you're tapping into the truth of you. You're tapping into the magnificence that you are, because there's a part of you right now in this second that remembers it. You remember that this is true of you too. It might still be a little wild to think that you could be as wonderful as your own guides, that in any way you know them or intersect with them or hear stories of other people intersecting with them. How can you be that good? But inside of you, in the deepest, deepest part of you, you know it is true. You know it is true. So why not be that here? Why not just be that here? Why be anything less than that? That is who you are. That is who you are. And that's why, if anyone saw on Facebook today, I don't know what I was saying at home in between sessions, but Stryker, I later saw he posted on Facebook, Karen is fired up. Be careful if you go tonight. I don't know what he wrote, but he wrote something. I don't know what his words were, but it came through my feed. I'm like, what is he talking about? I don't know what he's talking about. I really don't. But here's the thing. I realize that this theme has been emerging a lot lately because in every seminar that I've given this week, and I've given a lot of seminars this week, there's a word that keeps popping up that doesn't come from my vocabulary. Those of you who know me, you know my word choices. I mean, I think I've made up a lot of words, too. So.
Seepage? The word seepage?
That's from past lives.
You know what I'm capable of. You know what I'm capable of. And I just like everybody, I have a turn of a phrase. I use language as a tool. And oftentimes I'll point out to you language I do not use, and I do not use it intentionally. And an example of a word I do not use with intention, you have never heard me say this in a session. Like, I never use that word in a session. There's a lot of vocabulary words that we're accustomed to that I do not use. I do not use this word.
Oh my God. I just said that to somebody today. Oh my God, you're forgetting.
What did you say?
I was explaining that I was coming to this thing. Try explaining you in like 10 minutes. So
We're still working on that.
She doesn't talk about karma. She doesn't talk about God really, but I just said that.
That is
you
amazing.
don't use that word karma.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Marie. We got the whole dot. So my language choice, some of it is unintentional, but some of it is intentional. And I don't like to use language that we as humans have started to put negative tags with or negative links or an association of something that we might think as being a negative energy or a lesser energy. So some of these words that we use without a good explanation about what their true meaning is, I would prefer not to use them because we associate them with limit rather than with power. And we are powerful, we are not limited, so I'm not going to use that vocabulary. Now that being said, the word choices that I would use if I'm talking about your inner being, the essence of you, I use the words power. I use the word ignite your power. I use the word essence. This is language you guys hear me say all the time. That when you find that fuel inside of you, this is my language. This week, every seminar I gave, I felt like somebody was taking my mouth over and using a different word choice, a couple of words that I typically do not use. And the words that they're using are I hope I spelled this right.
There you go. That's it.
It's not easy spelling on a board, let me tell you. But these words have come up like crazy this week. Courage and courageous. And I don't use those words. I simply don't use them. I use ignite your power. Find find that strength inside of you. Find your true self. Find your nature. But when I thought about how much these two words are coming up this week, I realized that that's something that we want to start to really pay attention to, is courage. For years now, we've been coming to this room and we know how to think. Someone give me the formula.
Feel.
Believe.
Oh, feet. By the way, if you haven't gotten the memo, we don't feel anymore, we feet. Okay? And it's quite a feat to do.
That goes along with the seepage.
Yeah, yes, most definitely.
I think if we leave it, your consequent
Subsequent actions. All right, we know the formula for how we create our reality. What you think plus what you feel plus what you believe in conjunction with your subsequent actions based on what you think and feel and believe is how you manifest your physical reality here. There's no exceptions to this. If there's a hole in your life experience, there's a hole in the equation. It really is that simple, except for the fact that we also co-create reality, so what the people most intimately connected with us are thinking and feeling and believing, and their subsequent actions will affect your reality to some level as well. But all that being said, we know how to think. We're learning how to get on top of the things that we're feeling. We're learning how to be free of negative thinking. This is the stuff we've been doing here for years. We know how to believe that something is possible and let go of a limiting idea that says that it isn't possible. Even if we're just making our idea where we are plus 10%, at least we can believe that plus 10%. And then when we achieve that, we can go plus another 10%. So we know that we can believe something a little bit more than what we have here. But the other part of the equation that belongs in there for us to really get what it is that we want in our lives, how we want our lives to feel and be every day, is to have courage. Have courage. There are so many things you want to do. Start to do them. Don't give excuses. Don't blame anybody. Just do them. Do them. Do them. What is the very worst that's going to happen? Nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. There's nothing that's going to go wrong. Just start to act with more courage. And recognize that every single thing that has been created, that has a positive form, that exceeds the life of the person that has created it, it took them courage to come through with it. And in most cases, they had to act without support because there's always going to be people that want to measure the value of themselves against the value of you. So when you do more than them, the only way they're going to feel better about themselves is if they can try to suppress you. So stop letting other people suppress you. Go about your day. Go about your choices. You don't have to share with people if they're going to be naysayers. Leave them out of it. Share with the people that support you. The people in this room support you. Anybody that ever comes to any of the events that I ever give, anywhere, anytime, support you. Share with those people. Share with the people in your life that understand that you can do the things that it is that you want to do. And then start to have courage. Start to have courage to do the things that you want to do.
I wonder what you would... I know that courage comes from the French. Cour. Heart.
Yes.
Courage isn't just about
It does.
kind
You're
of
right.
confidence or will. It has to do with a certain quality of the heart, and perhaps you'd like to speak to that.
That is right. I did take French a little bit, and he's right, that I never even realized that the derivative of the word courage is heart. And that's exactly what it is. I think it's another synonym for the thing that it is that I always talk about your soul light, your candle that's lit inside of you. You know, the power that you have, and having that ignite and really come forth. And I always go right here. I always go right here with my fist when I talk about this. And this is the heart center. It is the thing that gives us that push and that belief that we can do something, that we can do something more than we might have believed possible, and that we can explore and experience and expand. And maybe every moment of stepping forward with a little bit more heart or a little bit more courage isn't going to land us to exactly the destination that we might want to be at. But every step gets us closer to seeing that it's okay, because when you walk and you take steps, you're not going to fall. And it might take a few more steps and a little bit more courage to keep you on that path to get closer and closer to the destination that it is that you imagine. And even beyond that, as you're having that heart and that courage to move forward and to take those steps, you're going to see that through the partnership that you have with this magnificent universe, that sometimes the course will change. So it's not about the definitiveness of the destination, it's about the movement. It is about the courage. It is about the heart. It is about acting in accordance with the belief that you are a powerful being and living to that belief that you are a powerful being. And as you're moving forward, your guides, the universe, all that is love, is not going to pull the rug out from you because you've acted in courage. It might not be able to put right in front of you the thing it is you were aiming for, but it's going to put something in front of you, something different and more reflective of the power of love, the power of heart, the power of courage than you were experiencing before you took the step to get there. And that is enough. Sometimes that is enough. Sometimes that's all that it takes, is that one step, one more step. So think about today. Think about something you want to do and make a decision right here and now before we take a brief break. Make a decision that you're going to take one step toward that goal. Just make the choice. Make it now. Make it. Make that choice now. When you come back from the break, I'm going to ask you to put that step on a piece of paper, because now you are accountable. You're in this room. You are accountable. When you put that down on a piece of paper, some people are going to be looking over your shoulder and reading it, and they're going to ask you how it went. And if they're not looking at it, your guides are certainly watching you put that piece of writing on paper, and they are going to hold you accountable. Of course, they do it in sweet, nice ways. You know, oh, did you get to that yet? Or why not do this? Or they'll make things impossible for you to do that have nothing to do with the thing on the piece of paper. Trust me, they will do that, and they will think it's a riot when they do it, because it's very funny. Oh, she really thinks she's going to do that, huh? Well, I haven't seen any action about that one little thing on the piece of paper yet, so let's see if she's really going to be able to get that done today. They'll find their ways of making you accountable in very friendly ways. They're not going to use the word accountability because that sounds a little harsh, like it should be on my do not use word list. But we're going to do that. We're going to write that down. We're going to write down. You don't even have to write down the destination. You're going to write down the one step toward a courageous goal that you are going to take. And you're going to take that goal, you're going to take that step after tonight. Whether it's tomorrow or Saturday, you're going to take that step. Okay? So go figure out your word. Have a break. Have a cup of coffee. And we will be back in 5 minutes. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Did you get to catch up with old friends? Yes? All right, I want to mention something from what I was speaking about earlier. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because a text came in from somebody that was watching the evening. And this individual texted Jeannie and said, "Why is Karen talking about the good rats? I know she has no idea who they are." And to be frank, I have no idea who the good rats are. But happily, someone came up to me during the break and said the person has moved her seat, but she was sitting right here. So apparently, she said the good rats. I didn't say the good rats. Can you please tell us why? Please tell me, why did I say the good rats?
All right, I'm a newbie. Hi, I'm a newbie.
Where's your polka dot now? Okay.
This is a 12-step program.
Step one, here we go.
My brother passed 33 years ago. He was 21 years old. And for about 2-3 weeks, he was the sound guy for the Good Rats. It was like a little quick, you know, when you're a kid and they were like up and coming, they're at my father's place. I didn't know, I was young, but that's what he did. He did sounds for them once in a while. For the Good Rats, and I just told him. Yes, they did.
Yes, they did.
I never saw, I don't know.
Yes, they did. They used to throw that.
So Lisa,
I don't know any
that was like just a mild initiation for you to be here tonight, and she was sitting right here. I don't know if she moved back because she was afraid of what was coming out of my mouth. Yeah?
Karen,
And I honestly do not know who the good rats are. I do not know who the good rats are.
No, I was working out today, and I'm watching an interview with Dee Schneider, and he's like talking about his events. He's going to be doing an upcoming event with the Good Rats. A special, tribute, because they wrote a song, like Pepe Marcello, and they wrote a song about Dee Schneider and his band. And it was a song about Twisted Sister, I guess, and Dee Schneider's going to sing it in honor of him at the Good Rat show. So I don't know what the connection. Yeah.
That's so weird. When I was 12 years old, the Good Rats played at a bar in my town every Wednesday night.
No way!
I knew exactly who the Good Rats were when you said it, but I thought you knew too.
So I'm the only one in the room that doesn't know who the good rats are. Okay, so let's look at this coincidence and see what we might observe. What I think maybe our guides are saying to us tonight, in addition to welcoming Lisa and letting us know that her brother is here, but also welcoming Ron and Tom and every other person that knows who the Good Rats are. But it's also, I think sometimes your guides will deliver something to you through me that I would not say or could not say as a way for you to take the rest of what I say as truth. So that you know that it's coming from a place other than from me, and that conduit is pretty clear. It's pretty clear. So it gives you a little more faith to say, yeah, I think that this is good information, and maybe I'm going to act upon this good information. Did everybody write down their thing?
Couldn't think of anything.
One step. That's all. Just one step.
Towards which goal?
One that you're afraid to accomplish.
Don't make it hard. Make it easy. Write down one step. One step towards one goal. One step. If you've never painted and you want to paint, then go to an art store on Saturday and buy a few paints. How hard is that? It's not that hard, right? It's not that hard. It's one step. It's one step. That's all it is. One step. Take one step towards something that you want to do and take that step. One step.
3 steps.
That's funny. Jerry he brought flyers for an event that he's hosting that has to do with dance, and I keep saying, I didn't even realize I'm saying it. I'm saying one step, 2 step. You want to share the information about your event?
Yeah, okay, quickly. I'm hosting a dance kind of party, but it's about intentional dance. I'm calling it Dance Your Dreams, and I've led workshops in LA, and I've moved here, and I use dance in the workshops to help people integrate their discoveries, their ahas, and anyway, ancient civilizations and tribal peoples all knew that dance is embodied prayer. It's the most powerful way to take in perhaps things that you're seeing on the blackboard or hearing. So I want to dance, and I invite you to come to the dance. There are flyers there, and it's a way to dance your intentions.
What is the date?
And you don't have to know how to dance. Just be willing to move and make a fool of yourself. What?
What is the date?
Friday evening, the 25th of April, 8 to 10 at the, where is it?
The flyers are in the back. Grab a flyer.
You can take them, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank everybody. All right, so let's get back to having courage. One thing, I have been talking for a couple of years now about the guide's projection of what we can experience between the years 2012 and 2020. This is a theme, and obviously we're going to take this theme all the way up to our big grand finale in 2020 in January in Costa Rica, we said, right? Where's that monthly meeting going to be? Costa Rica?
We have a new place for you.
Oh, where?
It's called Rattan. It's
That's where you were last week?
No. I would like to be there.
Oh, okay.
So that's where we're going to go.
Okay.
The island off the coast of Honduras is absolutely gorgeous.
Okay. Can we rent the whole island?
Can we rent
You got enough money?
We'll figure it out.
Okay. You guys are in charge. Jeanette and Mimi are in charge of travel plans. Okay? The 3rd week of January 2020. Do not make any plans for that week. 3rd week of January 2020. Okay, we got it? 2020. We're going to do plenty before then. Don't worry. We will do plenty. We'll do plenty before 20. Okay, just mark your calendar. You guys have iPhones. Ooh.
I know.
What if you only have a flip phone?
Oh, that's just embarrassing, Joanne. That's just embarrassing. Okay. I gotta get serious again. All right. So anyway, this period of time. Oh, thank you.
Just in case
I should wash my hands and my coffee. It's a very weird sensation when you're not expecting it. Washing your hands and a cup of coffee. All right, so these years, you guys really understand very clearly the model of what we can anticipate over the balance of this decade. That my favorite diagram of all. You can't have an enlightenment power group without the diagram. Here's our neutral line. Whatever range people are living in below the line, whatever range of negativity people live in below the line, in order for them to be agitated out of being complacently negative or negatively complacent, they have to drop to a lower state of pain in order to have the agitation, to find tools and insights and perceptions that will bring them higher than that negative range that they were living in. Okay? So it's kind of not a fun way to necessarily get there, but over these next 6 years, you'll be seeing more and more of people who are living negatively in a range that they've become very, very comfortable with, a range of just saying this is what life is like, that things will happen and whatever range that is, they'll fall out of it to a lower negative state. And it's not horrible, because what it's designed to do is to give that person an opening in their perception that this is too painful for me. I don't want to live like this. There's got to be another way to do this. And that's when they will become receptive to other ideas or stories or messages or people or speeches or books, or looking at people who have been through a similar experience that they have been through and saying, how did they get through it and why do they seem happy today? And then they're going to ask questions, and they'll start to follow their curiosity, because the new state of pain will be a greater state of discomfort that's intolerable. All right? Now, we don't want that to happen to anyone here. But what is fascinating is that there's no absolute that this is going to happen to anyone in this room, because just the idea of living in movement toward taking off your masks and layers and becoming more enlightened, becoming more aware, getting closer and closer to the vibration of love. Your movement toward intentionally getting closer and closer to the vibration of love means that you don't need some big, massive negative catalyst to make you become aware of a different perspective. You are already seeking and learning and discovering that different perspective by choice on an ongoing basis. So I remember when I started to talk to guides and I would hear something like how your reality is created, and I'd say, you know what, I felt very human for 3 days. I would be like, how much did I mess up next week? You know? And I was always thinking in terms of, I felt really, very sad for a day. What's that going to do to me in May? I was always thinking, like, if I'm acting human today and I understand the law of attraction, which was such the hot topic then, how am I messing up my future life by feeling badly today? So then I would feel more badly about feeling badly today. So now I'm worrying about how feeling badly today is messing up my future tomorrow. So it was like this terrible cycle. And I wound up focusing more on how much I'm screwing myself up in the future rather than managing the emotions of the moment or the day, whatever was making me feel badly in that moment in that day. So finally, I think just to give me some peace, my guide said, you know what, you have an exemption. Don't worry about the law of attraction, you have an exemption. And I'm like, really? Well, so much of what you've told me so far has been true. All right, I'll take it. And I wanted it so bad, the exemption, that I took it. I didn't question it. I didn't say, how can that be, like I had done and hounded them with so many other topics before. Prove it. Show it. All right, show it to me again. Show it to me backwards. Show it to me one more time. And I didn't do that with the exemption because I wanted the exemption. I needed relief from worrying about how I was messing up my tomorrow by what I was feeling today. So I took it. And I have to tell you something. I did have an exemption. And I realized that we all have an exemption. And here's why. There are powers in the universe. And what is a negative energy? A negative energy is the absence of the energy of love. Am I right? It's the absence of love. And the way it looks on earth is hate and fear. That's the absence of love. So if I should dip and feel some fear, and if I should feel blue, and I would feel sad, or I would feel disappointed, or I would feel inadequate, I'm feeling the absence of love, of course, but I'm not feeling some kind of energy that's going to make my life miserable. Because in addition to having normal human emotions that I have every day, and more so back then, I also had been striving to feel more love. I was striving to be kinder. I was striving to be less judgmental. I was striving to accept people. I was striving to remove all forms of judgment. I actively pursued, as though I was taking a PhD course in judgment removal. I actively sought judgment removal. I mean, I did. I threw myself into it like it was life or death. And I worked it, and I worked it, and I worked it, and I worked it, until I got to the point where I had this 1 second in August of 2006 where I was 100% judgment free. It was 1 second. It was one of the most powerful seconds of my entire life on earth. But because I had that second, I knew its power. I knew what being judgment free completely felt like. Now I might not live exactly there, but I live pretty darn close, and I'm constantly monitoring what could I do to live closer to that moment again. But if you think about it, my focus was on the vibration of love. So even if I was feeling the absence of love in my day-to-day experiences, my striving for seeing the world through the lens of love, removing judgment, being kinder, appreciating people, feeling gratitude, all the stuff I was seeking to do, no matter how successful I was doing it on a daily basis, it was eclipsing those moments of feeling less than the vibration of love. If I'm telling you that love is the greatest vibration in all of the universe, it's more powerful than splitting an atom, how could a little vibration of the lack of love, how could it possibly have the same power as the vibration of love? So if I spend a little bit of time here, look at all of the unhappy moments I'm just eradicating with the power of that energy. I did have an exemption. I just didn't understand it energetically. And oddly, as I was striving, I didn't have bad things happening in my life that used to happen. All of that stuff just started to go away. And even if I wasn't proud of what emotions I was experiencing at times, and often, it wasn't just on an occasion, I was still very, very, very human. But what I was striving for, what I was seeking, what I was bringing in, what I was intending, was so important and so much tapping into the vibration of that powerful, powerful, powerful energy that it wiped out every poor below-the-line feeling or thought or experience I had during my regular waking hours. So I'm telling you tonight that the stuff that's going to happen to other people, you keep striving to be more loving toward yourself, towards ideas, towards the planet, towards life, towards possibility. You strive and you continue to get there. Release a judgment. Make a friend. Be kind to somebody. Feel appreciation. Feel love for yourself. If you keep doing that stuff, which doesn't take a heck of a lot of time, you have an exemption to what the world is going to be experiencing over the next 6 years. So tap out. You're not in it. You don't have to be in it. But what you are going to be instead is you're going to have the privilege of being one of those people on earth that can help the ones that fall. This is a training ground. You are the ones. You're that group. You're that powerful group of people that are going to be there to help the ones who fall. and you're going to do it naturally. It's going to be coming from truth, because everything you say to someone else is going to be something that you know in your heart. So it's not going to be coming from your ego. It's not going to be coming because you only have to tap into the power of courage. It's going to be coming naturally because you're going to know it is true, because you live it. And that's what you are. You have an exemption. No one in this room need to plummet again. You don't have to plummet again. It's done. It's over. You're beyond that. You don't have to do it. So it won't come in. Appreciate life. Appreciate yourself. Be self-accepting. Be self-loving. Be kind to people that you might not naturally have been kind to. Be kind to them in your thoughts. The heck with what you say to them. Be kind to them in your thoughts. If you do this a little bit more than you've been doing it, and everyone can amp it up a little, but if you do it a little bit more, this exemption becomes more and more vivid. And it's a fact. It's an energetic equation. You cannot change the equation. This energy eclipses this lack of energy. It's a fact. It's energy. You can't make this stuff up. So if you just do that one little thing, and you act in courage in doing it and moving forward, as you act in courage and you take that step that's written on your piece of paper, you're going to love yourself more. Therefore, you're tapping in more to that vibration of the power of love. So if you do that, you have just officially opted out of a plummet. We're all in agreement? Now, this is the opt-out year. Everyone, how do we start the year? We opted out of fear already, and now we are opting out of plummets.
I've been learning about the power of thought energy lately and how amazing it really is. And what I've been trying to do at work, I work at a physical therapy place, so there's a lot of people that are asleep and really struggling and very unhappy all day, 13 hours a day. They have a smile on their face. I'm the first person they see. And what I've been doing is every time they make a negative comment or complain or so upset, I went to a workshop last weekend with JD, and we were talking about thought energy, and we were talking about like imagination and like picturing like giving love, like hearts like literally flowing out of your body like to them, like giving them love without saying anything, without letting them know you're doing it, just like your chest just opens,
Yes.
your heart chakra just lets it flood. And so I've just been doing that, and I already was working on a lot of what you were saying, so I am love now. I know that. I'm becoming it. I am it. I feel it every second. And it feels even better to give the thought energy and that love to those people all day. And it's not really that exhausting either. It's empowering.
And when it really is tapping into the energy of love, it doesn't drain your energy at all, because love is constantly renewing. It's constantly giving you more abundance. That's what it is. Love is expansive. It will always rejuvenate you.
We use the image of like marching men, like holding hearts, like marching into their soul. You need an image.
I like that.
Put it in your head. Yeah.
I like that. I did use the word accountable, and for me that's a harsh word. It really is, especially coming from the MBA and the whole business world and all that. But we are going to be accountability buddies here, okay? So you can expect that in addition to me saying, did anybody get any cool whispers from the universe this month? The next thing I'll say next month is, who would like to share a story about what courage step they took since we were here together, and what was the outcome of that courage step, okay? And just to make things even more complicated and make you more accountable, and our numbers are going to go up next month, not down after what I say, right? Is everyone in? I might even call on you without you raising your hand. Now that's accountability. That is accountability. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm just saying it might happen. It might happen.
We're getting there.
I'll be here next month. I'll be like, did I have the wrong night? I'm going to be here next month, and this room is going to be packed with people and their stories. Can I, let me tell you, I want you to know a step I took, and here's what the result was. Like, the step I took was so tiny, but the result was so big. Isn't that amazing? That's what we're going to hear next month. Okay, and the date of the next month meeting, anyone know that? 14th, May 14th. That sounds like a wonderful day. May 14th it is, okay? A very, very good time of the year. So, everyone, thank you very much for being here tonight. And don't forget to bring things that you want to share with each other of what you're personally involved with or you're kicking off that's entrepreneurial or extracurricular. This is the place to share, all right? And bring the things that you would like to share with others. And I will see you on May 14th. Good night,